Ciao a tutti, my name is Lucilla, welcome back to my channel. Today I am finally launching the series I had a bit teased a few videos ago. It's really exciting. I've been sitting on this for about a month. I have organized a whole bunch of people and we're all gonna talk about our favorite films, which is really exciting because I love films, but I haven't had a chance of talking about films on this channel yet. The videos are going to be a little more serious than my usual videos. During this quarantine, I had the opportunity of talking about films with fellow young people, and it was really exciting to hear how they feel about cinema and what catches their eye. So I wanted to, get as many stories as possible, just maybe for me to go back and look at them, or for other people to find a great film to watch next. Today I'm gonna be joined by
Alicia.
I'm gonna be talking about We Need to Talk About Kevin. She's gonna be talking about
Saving Mr. Banks.
So let's talk about We Need to Talk About Kevin. It was directed by Scottish director Leon Ramsey and it stars John C. Reilly as the father. I think his name is Frank. And then Eva is played by Tilda Swinton and Ezra Miller plays teenage Kevin. It is based on the book by Lionel Shriver, but she ended up not liking the film. She was very, very critical of the film. She did not want to be involved in the process of actually making the film because she was done with the book, so she didn't want to work on anything relating to the book anymore. And then she was upset. So the plot revolves around the tumultuous relationship between Kevin, and we see him grow up, like from his birth until his teenage years, young adulthood, and his mother Eve, and how that impacts the overall family dynamics. The first time I watched it, I was on my own in my room, and I was probably 12. I was 12. So I would not recommend a 12-year-old this film ever under any circumstance, but it changed me because I was like, oh, films can be weird, because it's an independent film. Up until that point, I probably had seen something independent, but only the big independent films, never We Need to Talk About Kevin, which is a bit more niche, a bit lesser known. I remember probably I watched it on my phone and it was dark. I remember this whole feeling about, but that definitely contributed to me loving this film because I felt like super edgy, super cool, being a 12-year-old and now being scarred for life because I watched something I shouldn't have because it's so... No. But I think the fact that I was on my own and watching something so different, it really hit me, both in a negative way because I was like, oh no, but also in a positive way. That's probably, the fact that it was so different from anything I'd seen up to that point definitely contributed to me loving this film so much. The reason why I love this film is because, as I said just now, it was completely different from anything I'd seen before, but it also, not only because of the topic at hand, but also because it's, a very different way of telling a story, and it was masterfully done. Like the way in which, we get a lot of present and a lot of past, and how whatever we see in the past connects to the present, and how Eve, who is now alone, feels compared to when she had a family. And I think it's very balanced. It's mental to me to think how much it goes back and forth, but you're still able to follow along, so you don't feel like, oh, I'm not understanding anything because there's too much back or too much now. But this one, has a lot of good connections between the back and the now, so it never feels wrong or overwhelming. But it also the now doesn't give away too much of what is happening, so you're still a bit with the mystery of what actually happened. Another reason why I really like this film is the whole behind the scenes. So it took 7 years to get a producer who gave enough money to actually produce a film, but it was only shot in 30 days and it was shot on film, all of it, which is crazy to me. Also, I was lucky enough to talk to Seamus McGavry, who is the director of photography in this film, and he explained how it was so important for them, since the budget was so small and they were shooting on film, to have an exact storyboard, and by the time they started shooting they knew exactly every single shot that they were gonna take, and they were not able to do more than 2 takes. And they were really lucky with all the actors they had cast, because everyone was so good and came and committed and was hyper present, which, you know, it's really cool. My favorite thing about this film is the use of colors, especially red, but colors in general. I love how red comes so many times. Sometimes it's just for aesthetic purposes to remind the audience that red is important. Every time it has like a real obvious meaning, it's different from the meaning that it had before. So I love this ever-changing meaning of red, at least for me, this ever-changing meaning of red, especially because I think it clearly represents the state of mind of the main character Eve, because she's in this ever-changing state of mind and every single one is connected to red, whether it's a good one or a bad one, which is very interesting. Still talking about colors, I love how blue becomes more persistent, obvious towards the end. Even though you can see it since the beginning, blue becomes more there as you get closer to the end. So I really like that as well, because blue and red have this strong opposition in cinema especially. So, you know, the idea of warmth and coolness, I really like that. I would recommend this film to anyone who wants to support a Scottish female director and a Scottish actress, as well as independent cinema in general. I would also recommend this to anyone who wants to see a different side to telling the stories of families, because it's so raw and painful and dark, the way in which this story is told, that it's literally a punch in the stomach when you watch it. But at the same time, if that's what you're into, like me, I would highly recommend you watch this film, because it's so right to the point. It's so painful at times, it's so hard to watch. 100% would recommend this. Oh no, the light is changing. Welcome to Edinburgh, the light is changing. Two things I didn't like about this film were, first of all, they showed feet, and I am not a fan of feet ever. Hello, I've only watched 2 Tarantino films and I was about to throw up while watching one of them because feet. But I think in this film it makes sense to show the feet of the character because they are so bony and dry, so it kind of give us insight of how the character is feeling and is doing, but still grossed out by feet so much. So I would probably cut them out, even though they make so much sense in this film. I'm not down with feet, I'm sorry. And the other thing that kind of bothered me, I don't mind it that much, but when I was watching it, I kind of was like, locks are involved. I'm not gonna give away the whole point of the film, because that's, you know, the crescendo takes you there. Basically, someone locks with a lock the inside of a door, but then we see that door being opened from the outside, like the lock being cut from the outside. When I think about this film, if it has a message, I really thought about it, because I was like, oh, is it trying to say that we should keep an eye on our kids? Is it trying to say that we should not show violence? Is it trying to say that the mother is responsible for every single thing that happened in her son's life? I don't know. I think that's the point of the film. Like, you can make your own mind up as you watch the film. Like, nobody's shown as a saint and nobody's shown as pure evil. That's the key of interpretation that I gave it. but of course, like, it varies from person to person. Like, it has to vary because that's the whole point, I think, of this film. But I love it because it's so, like, everyone can make up their own mind about this film. I think that rather than having a message, it was trying to ignite a conversation. And the last point I want to touch on is, did I cry while watching this film? Yes, I did cry, but I cried for a lot of things, so...
Saving Mr. Banks, directed by John Lee Hancock, and which stars Tom Hanks, Emma Thompson, and Colin Farrell. This movie is based on the very touching story of Pamela Travers, the writer of Mary Poppins, and it's a back and forth through her life as a child, with all the relationship with her parents and with her father, mostly, and about the period where Walt Disney tried to convince her to have to make a movie about Mary Poppins. I first watched the movie, I think shortly after it came out, and I loved it at first sight. It's so amazing. And I love this movie because, first of all, it makes you think. It makes you think about the person you are now and why you are like that. And it makes you think about the fact that sometimes you have to forgive yourself in order to have good memories of what happened in your life, and you have to forgive yourself for all the things that you think that are your fault in your life. And I think that's amazing. I also love a lot about the movie photography. Photography is amazing. It's so light. It's so it surrounds you with light. I don't know how to say it because like it leaves you lighthearted when you end the movie. Even photography helps you to get into the story and helps the feelings, and I think it's amazing. I also like a lot the actors. Guys, the actors, they are so perfect for the part. You know, Tom Hanks as Walt Disney is amazing. It's like Walt Disney reincarnated, even if he was like freezed. So maybe that's him. Maybe. Emma Thompson is one of my favorite actresses. She's amazing. Amazing. My favorite thing about the film is that it leaves you relieved at the end, and you have like this feeling through all the movie, like but in the end you realize that she's not, that she's just a person who has a big trauma and who has to forgive herself for what she has done. I love about this film the fact that it makes you think about your life and about the person you are now and why you are like that, and that if you want to go somewhere in your life and you want to evolve and be a better person, you have to look back at the past and know, you know, the big why or some things that happen to you inside, you know, and it makes you think about that, and I love that. I would like to recommend this to all the good people, all the people who have a story, all the people who are tormented by something, who want to be relieved and happy and nostalgic at the end of a movie. I don't like about the movie that it's kind of sad. The message of the film is clearly be yourself, forgive yourself, because everything that you've done is past, and you have to take that and put it into a better future, and you don't have to have regrets, because life is too short for regrets. It didn't make me cry, it made me cry a lot. It made me cry a lot, especially at the end. The end is very, very, I don't know, you feel relieved, but you cry a lot.